Yeah.
Don't get started. Don't start with that.
That's on the record.
All right. Okay, we're gonna call the meeting to order.
Mr. Sim?
Here.
Ms. Mears? Yes. Mr. Price?
Here.
Ms. Pinkham, I'm present.
Okay, we'll have the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Steve, there are no chairs. Yeah, why don't you go full circle? Sure, grab that one. Yeah, at least. We want to do
I can squeeze right in.
There's two people that came in.
Is Mr. John Minner here? Am I saying that right?
They're in the back row.
Oh, sir, yeah.
I'm John Woodman, in for John.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Feldman.
That's fine. You can go ahead and present your.
We got two seats. We got two seats.
One there, there's one there. Up here, so we can.
So, yeah, up here.
Another row.
I do have paper copies of the presentation.
Okay.
Pass those around. I wasn't sure how we're going to do it tonight. Okay, thank you for having me. My name is John Woodman. I work for Montgomery County Environmental Services, part of the Solid Waste District. And the reason I'm here tonight is to talk to you a little bit about our EPA 5-year plan update for our solid waste plan for the entire county. Okay? I'm here on behalf of the county commissioners. I thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Just to give you a little bit of history, I'll go through this kind of quick, because I'm sure some of you are familiar with a lot of it, but back in 1988, the state senate passed House Bill 592, which mandated the formation of solid waste districts to manage the garbage in the state. Okay, there are 52 solid waste districts in Ohio. We are a large one-county district here, so all the different 28 municipalities, townships, villages, and cities are all part of that solid waste district under Montgomery County. And we're basically here to ensure that there's adequate landfill space and disposal and diversion from landfill as we can for the county as a whole. Part of those requirements are that we have a 5-year solid waste management plan on file with the Ohio EPA, approved by the Ohio EPA, as well as all our jurisdiction members, which is why I'm here this evening, for all the programs and things that we're going to do as the solid waste district. There's a list in here, I think it's the 3rd slide or something here, with a lot of the different services and programs that we currently provide for community, for businesses and residents in Montgomery County. Those are all in the new updated plan. None of the services are changing or being reduced or eliminated or anything like that. Everything from like household hazardous waste programs to education outreach to grant programs for municipalities and for private sector businesses and individuals, and all that. So that's all staying the same. We have a pretty comprehensive list of programs that we offer. Not every county has all these different types of programs, so we're pretty happy with that. We're pretty proud of it, and they seem to be fairly well received. So nothing's being changed or reduced or eliminated in the plan. And one of the things that we did come from this planning process, that came out of this planning process, is we did see opportunities for improvement. Okay. One of the things that we are mandated by the state to strive towards is certain recycling goals, and they break it out by industrial sector as well as the residential/commercial sector. Our industrial sector recycling here in the county is well over 80%. It far exceeds the state goal of 66%. But we do fall a little bit shy of the residential commercial recycling goal. The goal is 25%. We're right around 23-24% right now, so we're close. But we do see that there's opportunity there to improve residential recycling rates in the county, give more opportunity and things like that. So we did make one proposed change to this plan, and that is it's an addition. we have all current services, but we did add one new program to it. It's a pilot program for a volume-based disposal program. And basically what that means is you pay for the amount of trash that you generate and throw away. So people that make more trash will pay more, people that make less trash will pay less. It's as simple as that. Just like water, electricity, any kind of other kind of utility. So we did put a pilot program in there. We were looking at 2 communities within the county, part of the city of Dayton and Jackson Township. It's a purely volunteer. It's not mandatory. Nobody has to do it. But they have volunteered to be part of a pilot program to study this, try to implement it, and hopefully create a model that maybe other communities would like to try to. So it's a pretty significant change forward for us, and we think that that will have a very positive impact on the particularly the residential sector recycling. It will really increase it and make people more aware. Another piece that we are focusing on in this plan, in addition to all the other programs, is more of an outreach-oriented type approach. We're working with the University of Dayton and some other educational institutions, as well as starting to partner with surrounding districts and other communities to kind of pool our resources and give more bang for your buck. Standardize messaging, increase our reach, and just try to reach more people and educate them on the positive benefits of recycling and waste reduction. So again, that's just purely an addition. It's purely voluntary. If you get to the second to last page, I think it is the timeline. And that's kind of why I'm here this evening. We have been staff, as well as some of these subcommittees of our Board of County Commissioners have been working for a couple of years now, about a year and a half now, to analyze, review, and update this plan. It's been through the initial EPA review, which was very positive. We have been through a public comment period that was posted. We had a public meeting. We received, again, very positive comments. Those were all incorporated. The plan was revised and updated per those comments, and a few things from the EPA. And then the final proposed plan was ratified by our policy board and sent out to the communities to be ratified. So you should have received a copy of that. If not, I do have hard copies, those electronic copies here of the actual plan. It's probably about 300 pages.
Oh, that's the book.
Yeah.
It's a little one-inch binder probably. I do have extras if you want from this evening later on. So hopefully you've had a chance to, nobody wants to read those, but at least review the executive summary. And if you have any questions, that's why I'm here this evening. And I would respectfully ask that you consider it and vote on a resolution to approve it. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, this all ties back to about some years back, maybe 20 years ago, am I correct? That every district has to have a waste plan. But
It's
we
1988.
yeah, well, okay, yeah, 88. I said 20 years, but yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yes, sir.
our plan could be to tie in with the counties, am I correct? I mean, we had to be a part of this, what you're presenting. I mean, that's.
There are 28 municipalities within Montgomery County, controlling jurisdictions, Perry Twp being one.
Right.
Each one of them is an equal member of the solid waste district, which is what puts
Right.
forth this plan.
Okay. And that covered us, otherwise we'd had to figure out something on our own.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, that's who you're going to.
Yeah.
Yes, this is handled for all the communities in Montgomery County. Also, let you take advantage of all those, your residents take advantage of all these services.
Right, yes. Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you for your time, and I hope you will consider it.
Yeah, I think it's very important that we go ahead and pass a resolution to be a part of that, to participate. Like I said, I looked at quite a bit of the binder to be speaking of, so I'll make a motion that we approve that to be part of that.
Sim,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Mears. Yes. I can email that back to you.
Yes, ma'am. Sure, we need to have a copy for the EPA,
Yeah.
the resolution.
All right, I'll email that to you tonight.
Perfect.
Okay. I guess if there's any other visitors at this point in time, here we are. Except we have a room full of people.
you whipping it up for comment and questions? Or
I
is,
guess if you got-
what about the outreach and education manager? Is she here? Right, he here? Was that him?
That was John Woodman.
That was him, okay. Sorry, John.
That's okay.
I want to say one thing. I am really pleased to see this many people here. I think that everyone in our township has the best interest of all the people that live here. And anytime that anybody goes over and above anything that's considered just normal, I think they need to have recognition. And I would like to recognize Bonnie. She's done a great job of digging up dirt and putting it on Maynard's Facebook. And I think that's wonderful because I want to be scrutinized. I want to be watched. I want you folks to be able to trust me for the man I am. So I think you need to hold all our feet to the fire. And that's a good thing. So thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you. My name is Bonnie Bertelson, and I'm a resident of Perry Township, and I have been at every scheduled Perry Township meeting for the Board of Trustees since May. Over these past 6 months, I have become increasingly dismayed by Perry Township's elected officials' behaviors and actions that, in my opinion, are irresponsible, reckless, and detrimental to the welfare of the community. Perry Township has been without a chief of police for 6 months when in June, Charles Chuck Adams was hired as chief of police. By October 3rd, Chief Adams had resigned, and we are again without a police chief because the Board of Trustees placed him on administrative leave October 5th before the effective date of his resignation of October 19th, 2018. In my opinion, the board basically ran off a chief that took 6 months and taxpayer resources to find, effectively failing in their responsibility of overseeing the public safety of citizens and residents of the township. That being said, I ask, what is the average response time for police services currently? And do you believe that it's acceptable? And if not, what are the action items to improve it?
Well, average response time varies. I mean, depends where, what else is going on at the time. I mean, it varies. If they're at Westbrook and Diamond Mill in a situation, and there's something at 35 in Preble County line, response time can certainly be a lot different than what it is if it's just half a
And
mile
that's
down
why I
the
asked
road.
for an average, on average.
Well, I don't know, that would have been up to the chief to compile, I guess, and I guess I've never seen that myself, so.
One of the things that's very important here, we can take these questions, and we don't have answers today. And when I took this seat, I promised you that I would have rock solid evidence to back up what we tell you. We haven't compiled that. There are things right now that we don't know. I'm glad you brought that up. I will ask the other trustees if we can have a meeting with not only just us, but the officers. And by the way, we're not without a police chief. The police chief is being contacted by phone. He is exactly where he's supposed to be right now. So if there is a problem, any of the officers can contact him. He is available by phone. So we are not without a police chief. He just isn't here in the building.
Thank you
So-
for clarifying that.
So one of the things that I've said before, I want to get rid of all the he said, she said stuff. We have documents, and we're gonna have all that available. And all of these things that have been controversial, we want to try to make them clear to the public. And that's one of the things that I personally want to do, and I'm sure that these folks still have the same thing in mind that we talked about before.
Insights from investment strategists and a financial plan that go through.
Oh, yeah?
I have a question too.
Yeah.
I'd like to pose this question to each trustee and afford them with the opportunity. to relate to this audience, their response. In turn, I would like to request Ms. Mears begin, because Ms. Mears voted to put the police levy on the ballot, and then I'll go to Mr. Sim and then Mr. Price. My question is, as we go forth from tonight's meeting, please state your vision for our Perry Township Police Department. Please be specific while giving your position regarding staffing, hours of police coverage, police equipment provisions, in addition to any other facts you wish to share regarding the Township Police Department. I would kindly ask that each of you, after stating your vision, permit the audience members the opportunity of posing questions. Ms. Mears?
It's a lot of stuff.
Well, as you know, as you stated, I voted to put the levy on. I want as many officers out here as possible that we can afford in our budget. I was the one who located the cars. I was the one who found the cars and got the cars for the township. I'm behind it. This is my township. I've lived here all my life. I'm here to support them any way I can. We need training and everything else that they haven't received.
Is there any specifics you can go into? I mean,
Such
you
as
guys
what?
are the boss
Such as
of
what,
the
what do you
police
mean? What do you
department.
mean as specifics? I'm not understanding.
I'm sorry,
I'm not understanding what you're saying.
specifics, I mean, like I said, hours of coverage, police equipment provisions.
Well,
I mean, what? Tell us what you do know. Tell us what you do know about the police department and what we're lacking, if we're lacking anything.
We're lacking leadership. We need a police chief. We need someone here that's going to direct our officers. We need someone here that's going to do the job. I would like to see someone on every shift, if not full-time, part-time. You know, again, we're going to have to go by our budget, just like you have to go by your budget at home. And that's why I voted to put the levy on.
For those of us who may be uninformed or may not know the whole story, where is the exact, because you had mentioned about, we do have a police chief, and what I'm reading and seeing is that he resigned.
Yes.
So is there an acting police chief? If the chief resigned, that means he's resigned, and he's
He
no
is still
longer.
on payroll
October
until the
19th.
14th.
Until the 19th?
19th.
So where are we
Sorry.
at as far as staffing with full-time officers, how many full-time, how many part-time? What's the rotation, what's the shifts, what's the, who's on duty, how long are they on duty? That would be helpful to,
Well,
I think.
as a matter of fact, that was something that I asked the chief before he resigned, if he could compile a list for me. Because there was numerous times during that period since he was here in June, that we had no coverage. I asked him at that time to compile me a list. I never received it.
So we don't know how many full-time officers or part-time officers? I mean, isn't that?
Yeah,
Part-time aide.
there's 8 part-time, I believe,
One
and
full-time.
And one full-time.
and 1 full-time. But with that full-time, when he is about to resign,
Yes.
because he took another position.
Yeah,
That is part of the problem right there, you brought it up. Since June, immediately in June, we said we need people hired, and we have gotten no one hired since June. The 1st of June until current, we have hired no one, and that's part of our big dilemma here. No one got hired. We have said, we need people.
But it's not like he's
Yeah.
resigning and now we don't have coverage. We have not had coverage for for shifts after shifts. So we've counted on Montgomery County to be here to help us. So,
There is coverage.
yes.
If someone has a call, there is coverage. Montgomery County Sheriff's Office
Sure.
does cover. They know if any officer out here has signed on as being available for coverage.
Yeah, I worked at the dispatch center, so I'm very familiar with how that works. It's just.
I'm just letting everybody know that, because,
Yeah.
you do, and that's the problem with a lot of this. Certain people know certain things, and other people don't know certain things, but that's, if there's a emergency of some type, somebody will respond.
Absolutely, but again, it goes back to what Bonnie said, is the response time. If there's no Perry Township officer, Montgomery County's covering it, they could be in, Drexel, or they could be,
Yeah, we can't give you an estimate
Right.
because like you said, they
Right.
could be in Drexel or they
Exactly.
could be in Jefferson
Right.
or Jackson or wherever. So it just depends on where the car
Yeah.
is. Yes.
And I don't know actually that I've ever seen that, as long as I've been a trustee, that I've ever seen the average response time. I mean, it's an interesting thought that I guess, if I did, it's been some time back, and I don't know that I've ever seen it. Yeah, I would like to see that.
Are you done, Ms.?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Sim, you abstained the last, on the police, last vote for the police levy, you abstained.
That's correct.
The levy, before that, you voted no,
Correct.
and you placed signs in your yard voting no.
I didn't place them there.
Well,
They were there.
signs were in your
Yeah,
yard.
let's get the accusations correct.
Oh, accusation, I'm sorry, sir.
What you just said, I put
Confused you.
signs. I didn't put signs. There were signs there, but I didn't.
Signs were posted in your yard.
That's correct.
Okay.
There were signs.
Okay. I have the same question for you that I had for Ms. Mears.
Okay, I will say, the levies have been very controversial. We have people out here that think we need levies. We have people out here that are very much opposed to levies. And if I look at the whole overall situation, we haven't been out of money in 3 to 4 years. We've had carryover every year for 3 to 4 years. And unless I'm out of money, I don't see the purpose of putting a levy on. And I said, let's do what we got with. If we're out of money, then that might be a different situation, but we haven't been. And there's a whole lot of programs and things I think we could have looked into. There's certain grants that we could have looked into. I encouraged that happen. It never happened. But I have encouraged that to happen. I wanted that to happen. And in the past, it did happen.
Gail,
It's somehow.
somebody misquoted you.
Pardon?
Somebody misquoted you.
I'm sorry.
I said somebody misquoted you. I read in the newspaper that you had said that, regarding the levy, that we don't have enough resources, and so.
Yes, that was a misquote. I never stated that. I never stated that. That was absolutely, that was on TV and that was in the paper. And I never said that. I don't know if any of the trustees said we were lacking on resources. But we haven't used the resources that we currently have. We haven't. You know, we've got some programs as far as, you mentioned equipment. We've gotten, I think, you know, we've done a lot of things to try to keep the equipment up. We've purchased 2 new cars. There again, no cars could be found. No cars could be found. That's what we kept hearing. Ms. Mears called me up one day and says, I've got 2 cars located. I said, wonderful. We conferred with the other trustee at that time. We talked back and forth, and she told me, she said, why don't you call this man about these cars? I did. She felt I knew more about cars. I said, well, I don't know, but okay. I called. We all decided, let's buy the cars. So we purchased 2 cars. That was in July. We still don't have them cars. It was turned over to our chief, and we said, here's the information.
No, he had said back in July that they wouldn't be delivered until November or December. Yes, he most certainly
He might have
did.
said that.
He might have said that, but
But
that's
the
not
guy
what
at the auto
influences it.
place told us we could have them in August.
Right.
And I don't know what the delay.
Fully equipped, and that's what they
Yes.
haven't done?
That's what we were told.
Okay.
Now, Ms. Mears and me checked with that. I don't know what the delay was. Around the 20th, I kept thinking, where are these cars? Around the 20th of September, you come back, the cars weren't insured. And I'm like, what? So I got with Rhonda, and Rhonda goes, yes, they're insured. And it's like, okay, what's going on here? It turned out the chief hadn't signed some paperwork. That's what the holdup was in the cars. Why, I have no idea. But that's the fact of the matter. And now the cars are being, we've kind of gotten that expedited to where these cars are happening now. And one of them lacks a bumper, I believe, and the other one's being worked on also. So that's the situation on the cars. We had purchased, and the cars were down. That was the other thing. Cars were down. I said, all right, let's get a motor put in a couple cars. We'll get cars up and running, so we got cars. And that was accomplished too. Now, you know, I don't know, people can say, you know, good or bad, but we had cars up and running anyway. We got cars that were functional. You know, yeah, was it maybe long-term? Maybe not. But at least we got cars that were operatable and they're here, they're functional. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, we tried our best to have equipment up and running. You know, I got contacted one day, we were down to one car. I said, okay, what's the matter with the other car? There's a headlight bulb out. I said, fine, I will see, it was on a Saturday. I said, I will see that by dark, that car will be up and running. And I contacted the guy that had done some work for us. I said, I'm not sure if I have the tools, I don't know. He says, I do if you don't. I wasn't sure if it required something special, but it ended up, we were able to replace the bulb in the car and got it up and running. And it was operable by dark, so we had 2 cars operable by dark, which that was sufficient for what we had officers anyway.
So that's your vision of the police department right there? That's it?
Well, I don't know if you call it a vision.
Well, I call it, you know,
I'm-
as everybody else call it, I call it a vision.
I'm saying, you know, we got a 2016 car, we got 2 brand new cars on the way, we've got several other cars out here. So I think it's equipment wise, you know, we purchased a laptop computer, we've upgraded some different things like that. Certainly, any business, I don't care what business you have to continually upgrade certain things. You know, I don't know. I guess my opinion is you look at the kind of things you need to upgrade, and then as you go along, you upgrade. But I don't know, for whatever reason, that hasn't happened here for a while. I mean, it's not that it hasn't been suggested to happen. I've encouraged some of that to happen. It hasn't happened.
Well, instead of encouraging, you, as a person who's been there, done that, you get involved. You work side by side with your officers, you work side by side with your police chief, and you try to get things done.
Can I address
Well, I think in purchasing cars, we did do that.
Right?
Yes,
You've got to work together to get things
In purchasing cars, wasn't that what we were doing? What more could we do?
done in every way.
I mean, well, that was one way, but there was other ways. You know, I mean, hey, I got calls various times about things. If I can be of help, let me know. You know, there's been livestock out here different times. I will help. And I did help. I got some of that. And that's one thing, but it's a safety matter. If somebody crunches into one and hits a cow out on the road, you know, and gets injured or killed, I don't want that to happen. I've showed up at accident scenes and I said, hey, is there something I can do here? You know, do you need something? I mean, what more can you know, I don't know, what more can you do?
Well, what I'm saying is a lot of the chiefs were saying that they don't have this, they don't have that. You know what I'm saying? That's what we've heard for months on end. So, as you guys come together, you should say, okay, well, obviously this guy's saying it, this guy's saying it. So maybe we need to look into seeing what we can do to come alongside the next guy at least, and let's try to get a plan together, try to help him get everything together to make an efficient running police force. Because that is crucial, believe it or not, out here. As I myself experienced in the church parking lot the other night with someone coming out of a cornfield at me. Okay? And even if I do know how to protect myself or whatever, it takes a response time. I called Perry Township, I get dispatched to Montgomery County. Montgomery County says, well, we're working on it. So I go past this guy after the redirection that him and I had. And, you know, finally, one of your officers here, you know, was able to get there in time to catch him out here walking around. But that, again, could have turned very ugly very fast. So it is a huge concern to try to work together, even as a community. What does our officers need? Hey, maybe we can help them out. You know, can we take up a collection so that they have the proper gear and the proper equipment to do their job? Because I know from my own history, it's a little hard to do your job with a stick and a rock.
Well, I don't disagree. We need things. I guess all communities need things. I don't think our track record out here has been too bad compared to a lot of other surrounding areas. I think we've been very good. And I mean, I want it to continue to be that way or better. But I don't think if you had 10 officers out here per shift, you never eliminate everything 100%.
It's not about like that, it's about.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, you could have,
Got the coverage.
I don't think you could ever have enough to eliminate all aspects of crime. I mean, you could. And where do you draw the line? There has to be some sense in the matter of, you have to use a reasonable line some way to provide. I mean,
Can I say something on that subject? I don't think, I don't think anyone's saying that like, you guys aren't good enough, I'm not saying that. I think what I hear is a redirection that needs to be. I don't know who in the hell would have ever called you to have a headlight put in, and I mean no disrespect. We should have people, you guys should have people, that officer could have taken that car and got a headlight put in.
it was
I
the
don't
chief
see
that
where-
called me, not the officer.
Yeah, well, chief.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying.
Every police department, I've dealt with a lot of police departments. And then the planned maintenance, if you're gonna run old cruisers, you can do it, but you gotta have planned maintenance. You can't run old cruisers to death and then it's parked them. If you wanna say, we got one that's got 150,000 miles on it, you can get another year out of that, but you gotta have planned maintenance. You got people that's gonna put headlights,
They
gonna
don't-
change oil.
They don't have 150,000
Well,
miles.
no,
on them.
I'm saying
saying.
numbers. You
I
said
know.
you had old cruisers.
Well,
But
I
I don't
guess,
know.
mean,
I understand where you're coming
Yeah.
from, but I'm just, and no offense, but, Mr. Sims has been around equipment, and if I knew how, I would have done it. I mean, it's gonna save us a $200 auto bill, so what's the difference if, I mean,
Well, the headlight
no,
can go
I'm
out
not-
anytime.
No, I see what you're saying, and yes, we do have.
But see,
plans.
this is my line of work.
Yeah,
okay?
but
This is
that's
what I
what
do
I'm
for a
saying.
living.
When
I
he's-
set up planned maintenance programs for a lot of different people.
Right, and he's trying to
And-
save the
and
township
like-
a $200 bill.
Yeah, that's good.
That's what
But
I'm
that
saying.
headlight bulb was probably at age 9, 11, it probably cost $5.60.
I know, but still, when you take it to some place, it's
correct.
gonna charge you,
That's correct.
so that's what, I think that's
But
what he's saying.
a headlight's a matter, it could be working now, and you could look back 2 seconds later, it could go out. I mean, that's a headlight.
The headlight was an example.
It's
I
an
know
example.
that.
That's
And
all.
I was using it as an example.
Now,
We have a maintenance
there's
schedule,
something
oil
very
changes and
important.
things, we do.
We had one cruiser. This is an example that you need to be aware of. We had one cruiser that was at the mechanic shop. We got a call that that cruiser was complete and we needed to come and get it. Those guys that work on cruisers are on a schedule just like everybody else. 7 days later, that car had never been picked up.
That's right.
The chief had never gone to get it or sent anyone to get it. Dale got a phone call from the mechanic and he said, I need the space, can you come and get this? He met Dale here and went up and got the cruiser and brought it back. That very day, the chief asked him, he said, I think it's time we go get that cruiser. Dale said it's sitting out here right now. So.
I mean, there's a
now
lot
that-
of things like that people don't see and know all about. There's this,
It's just,
It's
what
amazing.
you're saying, it's not a fine, well-oiled machine.
that's,
Right.
It needs some
But
work.
it's going.
And that's what we're trying to talk about too.
That's
We're not,
what we
it's
want.
not us against you.
I know,
It's
and-
that, you sit out here and you hear these things like that. I have situations like that too, but there's ways to fix it.
And we appreciate it, and that's
well,
what,
right, and
that's,
that's, we want
we look
that.
out
We
and
want
see
the
everybody,
best
that's
for the
what we want,
community.
that's
We
what
want
we're
that.
trying to do.
I mean,
But when we get attacked and everybody else and this one saying this one saying this one, nobody's,
a lot of the
we
whole
wanna
facts
come
don't get
together.
put out, that's the problem.
We
There's a
wanna
lot of
come
missing
together.
stuff.
That's all we're asking.
That's the problem. I mean, it's,
Mr. Sim, I heard you say that the chief was on administrative leave. Did he ask to be put on administrative leave?
no.
He didn't?
No, he did not, but we consulted with our legal.
I didn't say that was, I just asked if you did.
I know, and I'm
I don't-
furthering the question, I'm explaining. We consulted with our legal, and they said that's not anything unusual to do. And we decided, because he was being asked a lot of questions by the community, we were being asked a lot of questions, and he really didn't want to get into it with a lot of people. And we thought it was just for the better thing, all the way around. That's why it was done.
Since you said that, I have noticed that, of course, the police chief's not here, but I've heard several accusations that the police chief didn't do this, the police chief didn't do that. Well, it's pretty convenient the police chief's not here to defend himself for any of those accusations. Yeah, I don't know either. I think a lot of people in here don't know.
What does administrative leave mean? But you say he's free to get our phone calls, but if he's on administrative leave, he's not supposed to be here or anything, so how can we contact him if he's not on the job?
I don't think you can call him, the
Yeah.
police
Well,
officers.
okay.
The only one.
We are
that's
officers.
officers.
We are officers.
We are officers.
Phone calls are another thing, you know? I don't know what was going on, but he would tell us, he talked to you officers an hour and a half each some nights. I don't know what the talk was all about, but that's what we were told.
All right, I have a question. For
I don't know.
those of you that don't know, I'm Sergeant Workman. So right now, I'm currently the ranking officer until they appoint somebody. And we have a lot of questions, okay? And I'd like to start with what the current status of the chief is. So you say that he's still acting chief? So we can still contact him for
Until
legal reasons?
19.
Okay.
So when?
So I have a question. This letter is signed by all 3 trustees. Is this the letter that you guys put out,
Yes.
putting him on leave?
I think it's about my turn.
Yes.
There's something very important.
Oh, I just have one question about this.
Okay.
Okay, if you read this line here, the second line, it says, "You are prohibited from being present at the township offices or acting in your formal capacity." So if he's prohibited from acting in his formal capacity, how is he a supervisor? Because you then sent this letter out today, which I'm assuming you guys sent out. It's not signed and
Okay, let me ask you
and it's
this.
undated.
At 11 o'clock at night when he's not here, how does he act?
By phone call, because
So that would be by phone
because
call.
he has the authority of the township to act as a police chief. You took the authority away from him as of Monday. So if he has no authority to act as a police chief as of Monday,
Well-
how is he on call as a supervisor?
I don't know, the prosecutor's office worked with us.
I spoke with the prosecutor today. He said that they
And
were
I
not
spoke after you
consulted.
talked with him.
Yeah, he
Yes.
said that they were not consulted on the drafting of either of these letters.
That is
They-
not-
That is not true.
And that they don't know how
drafted
language.
this letter. I'm sorry.
That's what Prosecutor Peterson and Prosecutor Hale said.
That's
Because
wrong.
I read those
Oh
letters
my
to
gosh,
them.
no way.
I read those
No,
letters to them,
no way.
and that's what they said.
No, they drafted this letter and sent it out here.
Okay, so that is the official letter then.
That's the letter they drafted for
Okay.
I
us.
asked
What-
about,
Okay, to place him on leave, do you have to pass a resolution?
They told us not.
Okay, so there's no resolution passed, there's no discussion in open meetings about this.
They told
You
us
all
we
three
did not
signed
have
it
to.
and sent it to him. Okay, so that's the official letter.
That is
So
the
per
letter
the
they drafted.
per the official letter, as of Monday, he has no authority as police chief.
that's not true.
That's
I
what the letter
called
says.
Nathan Peterson,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked him about the word formal. And formal means that he will not be in the building. That is a formality.
It says in his, it
In
says,
his formal
"You are prohibited
capacity."
from being present at the township offices or acting in your formal capacity."
Formal capacity
So-
is
so-
working out of this office.
So if I call him and ask him, "Hey, I have this incident and I need guidance on how to do this," he's going to give me in his formal capacity what to do.
I got a better idea.
I don't know what he's gonna tell you.
Do it
But I
in
know that
email, and I
you're
want to
welcome
see it in
do
writing when he writes back to you. I don't want this hearsay stuff. I want to see it in writing when he comes back. There
So if
again,
we're on a scene and dealing with something, we're supposed to stop and email the chief?
you can call him, and then he
You just said not to call.
But
him.
but
That's what the letter says.
he can't act in his formal capacity.
His
So
formal
he-
capacity is here in this building.
No,
His
it's not.
His formal capacity is as a commander.
I am not an attorney, but I'll tell you what the attorney told me.
That's what they told us.
There's something very important.
His
We
formal
have-
capacity doesn't end at the walls.
Yeah. He's chief 24/7. He's a commander.
Right.
We have to be able to reach him 24/7.
If he's on leave, he doesn't have any capacity to do anything.
I
You
think-
guys put him on leave. You
I
guys
think
leave.
that you guys, all of us, might be missing the boat here.
We just
No,
I
what-
want to
you
tell
guys
you
read
why.
these
I
chief
want to tell you
officers.
why I
That's
say
what's
that. Can we tell you why? The reason we do that is because we have all the faith in the world in the office that we have.
We have no.
And it's been my suggestion to the other trustees, and we wanted to present this to you, that we want to meet with all the officers and do it as a group, and every officer get paid, and talk about all these things that we are talking about right now, so that we can come to a general consensus about what to do and how to go about it. Nobody knows these streets and roads like you guys. Nobody's better at your job than you are. And I don't think, just because he's president of trustees, that doesn't mean I can't ask him something, and if he's not here, I can't act on it. And we got that kind of faith in you guys.
What would be wrong with saying, I want to go out and look for a new police chief, we're not satisfied with this one, he'd stay here and we get one. Why did he have to be booted out? He resigned. Yeah, because you were booting him out.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, I talked to him. He said he was afraid he's gonna get fired by you guys.
I talk to a lot of people, but I don't bring those comments in here because nobody can document them.
Okay,
I've
look,
got
He said
here's,
right over there,
here's
I
the
was-
problem, okay?
Wait a second.
Here's
Can
the
we,
problem.
wait,
You've-
just let Wortman talk and everybody be quiet.
Okay, here's the problem. Per the wording of that, you took his formal capacity. His formal capacity doesn't end at the walls. That is his capacity as a supervisor to tell us what to do. So if he doesn't have capacity to act as a chief, he can't tell us what to do, which means we have no supervisor. Which means that every time we hit the road, we now have huge liability. Because if we go out there and God forbid shoot somebody or get involved in something where we get sued, we now don't have a supervisor to back us in it.
So can I ask you a question?
Yes.
If you're, like you said that you're like the acting supervisor.
I'm right now technically the ranking officer, but I'm only part-time. Here.
So then wouldn't they call you and ask questions at this
Correct,
point?
but the problem is that I'm only part-time and I'm not available 24/7.
And if you
So
got-
if something happens and I'm not available to come out, I can't come out.
If you
on
got
scene.
any one of you
So
officers-
I can't effectively
If
supervise.
any one of you officers got in one of them situations, I guarantee you the sheriff's department would be out here. You know?
Correct,
And they would take over at that point anyway.
Correct, to do a
When we
criminal
had-
investigation, but the problem is who's here to protect the officers?
If
Who's
we
here to
get,
protect you?
Yes,
if we get a use of force,
legally.
somebody has to back us up to saying that, yes, we follow the policy. Yes, we follow township policy. Yes, we follow state policy. There's no one
All right, we
in
had
that
a
capacity
criminal
that can
action
do
up
that.
there on Wolf Creek, quite a deal. Several times, and I believe the sheriff's department stepped in and took over the whole situation away from you officers.
Incorrect.
Chief Jerome, Chief Dalton,
Yeah, I see.
if something would happen, would you take a phone call from our officers if it was a dire need?
Here's the
Just
problem
a minute, I
though.
wanna hear him speak.
Okay.
There's a lot of misconceptions. I've sat here and listened to quite a few things. One, you said that there is coverage from the sheriff's office. That is, but it's kind of misleading. They'll respond to calls for service out here, but they're not patrolling your
Not
township.
patrolling, that's correct.
They're not.
That's correct.
So I know a lot of people in this room, I'm friends with a lot of people in this room, and I live right at the edge of the township. So I have a vested interest, and that's why I'm here in plain clothes. Didn't identify myself. But the bottom line is, with no police coverage, patrolling your streets 24 hours a day, your crime rate's gonna soar. It already is. You're already getting property crimes, you're getting burglaries, and you're getting stolen property. It's a fact. So don't worry about your.
Well, I haven't
don't
seen
worry-
them reports.
I'll get you in detail if you need them. But the bottom line is, don't worry about response times, you should worry about the calls for
I haven't
service.
seen them reports.
Why aren't you
All right, hold
demanding the
on, hold on.
reports?
If you want me to talk, I will. If you don't, I'll
I
sit
am
down.
in.
They have
I
asked for
absolutely.
it.
Hold on, I have not.
Let the chief talk, please.
Let Chief Jerome talk.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, I haven't seen that. I
All right.
have not seen them reports.
We'll take turns, that's fine. So how that works is, and Chief Dalton and I have talked about it, we're both here, we're both concerned. He protects you to the south, I protect you to the north. So the problem we have with that is what impact is it gonna have on both of our communities? The sheriff has bailed you out for quite a while. And he continues, and he's a great guy. And he continues to answer calls for service, but eventually, they have a very strain on their finances as well, if you watch the news. So what our concern is, how often are we gonna be called for service out here? We like all these officers, they're great people. But when you do talk about leadership and having somebody here, it's a team. And you have to have that. And you have to have somebody that's gonna be here and is gonna be able to answer the phone. You know, we talked about the cruisers, that's misleading. Only because I'm in the same boat. I got a cruiser same time you bought your two. It's not a lack of the chief not doing a good job, it's a lack of Katie Rose being able to build these cruisers because we're in line behind 20 other ones in a large department and they can't build them quick enough. It's not the chief's fault you don't have two new cruisers in your back lot. I've still been waiting on one for
They
2
weren't even
months.
that crew, Gabe.
It doesn't matter. They're there,
That's
you
where they're at.
purchase them, it's
Well, I know
signed,
that.
it's irrelevant, they're Katie Rose.
They are now.
You're in the same line that I'm waiting on. And we're waiting behind a large agency that got 20
Well,
cruisers
you didn't
ahead
have
of
to
all.
go to Katie Rose either. See, there's.
I'm just telling you why the
I know, I'm just telling the public
cruisers.
too, they don't.
But I'm telling you why the
don't
cruisers
play
aren't your
all
back.
wrong.
Okay.
So anyways,
So that's what that happens. Now, the problem is with the coverage, when you start going 8, 16, 24 hours a day without a car patrol, yeah, they'll take your calls for you, and that's what they've been doing. But I have never seen that, I would say, and I've been here 23 years. So what I'm concerned about where I live in the city is that our southern borders, 36 square miles is a large playground for thieves. And I'm telling you, if that,
especially when we're right next to Drexel.
and then that gets out, well, I'm telling you that, you know, you've got one road, and I won't mention the road, but maybe some roads somebody lives on. It's like the I-70 for thieves out here, and they love it. And the bottom line is, it's not gonna get any better. Let's talk about personnel. Whatever decision you folks decide to make, your elected officials, that's fine. But make no mistake about it, because you can't get people hired quickly, it's not a lack of anything. Number one, you give a test, you do a background, you get them uniformed, and you put them through the training process. That cop's not ready to go for a minimum of 90 days. If you gave a test today, that guy or girl's not gonna be ready for 90 days. So it's not as easy as the older days. when you
Even
could
though
do-
they've been an officer in a former location.
Not if you do it right, they'll know. You
Or
start out to
even
ensure
been
that you
an
have.
officer here in the past.
I've ran 8 people through the process since Adam started, and we turned up with one good candidate.
Here's the
Why
problem, if
didn't
you
you
have a
hire me?
list, if you
We
have a list.
were in the
you
process
file
of it when he resigned.
The
See,
problem
why
is,
weren't we told any of this?
I'm just telling you.
That's the other thing.
But
We
when we
never
talk
heard
about
none of
hiring
this.
people, don't think that it's gonna happen
We
quickly.
weren't told none of this. That's part of our problem. See, there was not that, that's part of the problem. We were never told none of this. No communication, that's a problem.
Well,
I mean,
the problem is when you do that and you get into that boat, when you're in the hole, stop digging, because if your staff starts leaving and they continue to leave, and if a couple more of these guys leave, really, it's simple math. You'll never be able to fill a 24-hour schedule. It would take you a long time to be able to do that. So you'll have to make that conscious decision. It's not my decision. But the bottom line is you can have money to do it. But the bottom line is if you don't pass that and you don't get these people hired, you're not gonna have road coverage for a long time. And that concerns both of us as chiefs, because how much is it gonna drain our resources from our communities if we're coming out in the township? Eventually, the county's not gonna be able to come out. Whether it's midnights, 4 to 12s, if they have a big bar fight in Drexel, if they have a big bar fight in Harrison Township, and they've only got 1 or 2 cars that are extra. So if they can't respond out here, we're not gonna leave you hanging. We'll come out, but then if I'm tied up on a burglar out here and I've gotta send an evidence crew out, we gotta take the evidence and things that we gotta do, then I've only got 1 or 2 cars in the city. I'm not, you know what I mean? So we are concerned, that's why we're here. We wanna hear what you have to say, because we need to report back. My boss is here. So we just wanna make sure, what is the vision? That's a great question.
I got a question. Like right now, how many does Brookville have on patrol?
3.
3, okay. I just wondered. Just curious.
You have more
Sir,
funds
yeah,
than
what-
we do, right?
Well, that's the problem. And then when you talk about funds, and I don't want to get into this, but when you talk about funds, yeah, you always got to think for tomorrow. We always do too. We're always thinking, how can we do this? People always have this magical word grant. Well, let me just tell you, that's, even with our school officer program, the school pays X number of $1,000s for our school officer. We did look for grants. These grants are not out there like they used to be. There's not this magical bucket of rainbow grants out there like there used to be. It's not there. So the bottom line is, yeah, you have this small number, the smallest budget I'm told in Montgomery County. And to run a full-time agency with cars, gas, uniforms, training, ammo, I'm telling you, the amount of money you have, personally, I don't think it's enough. If you want a full-time police
You know,
agency.
you talk about grants, I'll just bring up one there. I found some grant information, explained it, said, here's some computer stuff. I'm not a computer whiz, I don't know about all that stuff, but here's some information. Next thing I knew, me and another guy were being accused of stealing it from another jurisdiction. I wasn't stealing nothing, it was a grant program, come on. And that's the kind of stuff that's going on out here. You know, I wasn't stealing nothing. I heard of a program, thought we could get some things from it, a benefit that could help out our township, and the next thing it's getting turned in, me and somebody stealing computers. No, absolutely not. I wouldn't know what to steal, because I'm not a computer whiz.
What would you, number-wise, say that we need, funds-wise, to operate the new office?
that's what I think you need to look at. In the city, we're doing it too. We're doing a strategic plan. We've done one for the police department, our city's doing one. The best spot to start is a strategic plan for the township. Where you are today and where you want to be. And if you do those numbers and you do that math, and you say, okay, we have X number of police officers, and let me tell you, police officers are super competitive. We're in a market right now where any of these guys with a clean background can go anywhere they want because there's more full-time openings than there's ever been in history that I've been in since I've been doing this for 30 years. And Ricky will tell you that. So the problem is, you have to be marketable, you have to be stable, and you have to have all these things that ain't true. Because if these candidates don't come out here, the old days of saying we're just going to swear people in or we're going to bring people in and they're going to love to just hold a badge and we're giving them an opportunity, those days are over because there's so many opportunities that pay a lot of money. They're not just coming out here to work for free anymore. Those days are done because people get paid to work for free. I know when I had a part-time officer shop 2 years ago, you know, that was an eye-opener for us. So when these people come out and work part-time and work auxiliary, those days are done. You know, these guys, you know, that's a lot of risk to take for a small amount.
Let me ask you, since you're an officer and you know, I mean, we always hear about this, well, there's these guys that, they just want a little bit so they can continue to hold their commissions. What about that? Is that an unfact statement? I don't know.
We can't find those guys anymore, I'll tell
I
you
don't
that.
know. We always hear about it. There's these out there that they need to be with the department and do a little bit of work to hold their commission. And it's like, it's wonderful. Man, let's bring them on and, you know,
Even with that, you have to run them through a complete thorough background.
Understand.
We do a psychological, we do polygraph, we do an entrance exam. And we're starting out, we did away with auxiliary, we just did away with it because we could get nobody for auxiliary. I can't get people to work for $15 an hour part-time.
well, we've had 16 something per hour and didn't get them. So I guess we were above you on that, so it's not like we're not paying them. I don't know, I'm not sure what the problem is.
Stability.
Okay, can I go now? I think, like, Nelson, who actually came out and told everybody, he has a full-time job, he only works here however many hours. And I think that a lot of them are probably in the same boat where they have full-time jobs and so they're part-time officers. Not that I don't have a lot of respect for a lot of you who have answered my calls and you know, saved us from a lot of things and whatever, but I feel like there has to be a balance between a full-time job and being here. Like, if you can only be here one day a week, then maybe this isn't the place for you because we need people on duty more. And if we have 8 part-time officers who can only be here one day a week for one shift and like, say, and I don't know what the schedule is, but say 3 of you are, you know, second shift officers, where are we left for third and first shift? Like, how does that?
And that is the argument that we've been pushing.
Yep.
We need more full-timers instead of a fleet of part-timers. Because the problem with the fleet of part-timers is you're at the mercy of their full-time job. If their full-time job says, hey, you're working 4 to midnights Saturday through Tuesday, and we need coverage on 4 to midnights on Tuesday, we can't call that person in to work. They can only work the shifts that they have open from their other job. And the problem is that a lot of people work jobs where their shifts aren't the same all the time. They rotate, they move. So 1 month, we could have everybody has to work Saturday, Sunday. And all of a sudden next month, everybody has to work Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, we have Friday shifts that are open that we need to cover, but this fleet of part-timers, we can't get people to cover it because their full-time job that is paying all their bills wants them to work there, so they can't.
So wouldn't that
work
push
out.
a lot of you part-time people out the door to get more full-time people in?
It's not a matter of one or the other.
I can tell you there was a week in August, I worked 50 hours at my full-time job and I worked 48 out here because we had no coverage and I took it personally. But it's unheard of.
Yeah,
It's not gonna push us out the door. We will do the work. But unfortunately, I'm not gonna name names, but just the officers we have standing here in this room, the full-time jobs we have, Perry Township ain't gonna touch the money we make there. We're out here because we have a sworn oath to you people and we enjoy it and we like what we do.
And I mean, I've talked to a past high-ranking officer who was here, who's at a different district now. And he has said that a lot of the reason that people are leaving is because the pay isn't high enough, and so they have to be able to provide for their families. Realistically, what does your pay need to be in order for you to be able to sustain?
I also want to throw in there that we have asked to hire more full-time people.
And we've been trying. The problem is finding qualified people, because
So it's not like we're lacking, we have tried, and you have, they have not been able to be found.
like Chief Jerome said, there's departments everywhere that are hiring, from Trotwood to Oakwood, I mean, everywhere. So you're taking our pay as a township versus the pay of a city.
Sure.
Like Trotwood or Oakwood or, Huber, I mean, all these places. So the problem is that there's a very limited pool of candidates, and there's more jobs than what there are people. So we can't compete with these other higher paid jurisdictions right now.
Well, what's being said here then, even if we got a levy, it wouldn't do it.
No, that's
No,
not.
Because there are people out there, it's just we aren't gonna fill like
we can never
4
do it.
full-time spots
I mean,
right this second.
We're not asking to match pay with
No.
with the very large places. Yeah.
Basically, what our pay is set at now, it just needs
Maybe
to.
you're not gonna keep them, they're gonna go to
Needs to be
Oakwood or
continued.
somewhere else where the large is. We're not
Well,
gonna keep them.
yeah, but those jobs aren't gonna stay open forever. There's a gap right now, but eventually those spots will get filled, and then there will be more people to fill our full-time spots.
Over the years, though, we've had a lot of people walk through this department.
Correct, we are
We
stepping
never
stone
felt bad
agents.
about it.
Yeah.
If somebody's going on and bettering themselves, wonderful. We got some good service out of them in most instances. And it's like, we never felt bad about it if they were going on to better themselves. I mean,
As Chief said, times have changed. People-
well, but so if times have changed, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if we could ever come up with enough money to compete.
Well,
with
here-
this.
here-
You can't
here's the
do
thing,
it
though.
as a levy. Even if we passed it, I don't think we'd ever.
Well,
do it.
and
We'd be closer.
then
That's what I'm asking. How
the
much
thing
do you
is,
guys need?
well,
Wait,
the thing
wait.
is that's not always about the money either. Because I would have stayed here had things been more stable and people would have listened and stuff would have progressed. But I saw the direction that we were trying to take the township, trying to get more full-timers to cover the shift, more experienced people and hold on to people here. And to do that, we can't do it on the budget we have. We have to pass a levy if you want to do that stuff. And it's apparent that the trustees do not want that to happen. Because there's been fighting and road blocking and everything else.
Be careful how you say that.
Well,
Okay.
please don't speak for me.
Okay.
I'm a trustee,
In my
you're
opinion.
saying.
And
I-
I'm not saying just the current board, because because this has been since
I got documents.
Reinhardt was here.
I got
Okay.
documents.
So I would have stayed here at a lower salary, but I saw a sinking ship and didn't want to stay on it, and that's why I left. So it wasn't the pay that drove me away. It was the instability of the township.
Well, you could say the same about the road department or cemetery department. You can compare them with other jurisdictions around and say the same.
They don't say your house.
Stop, let him
They
talk.
don't come to your house.
They don't say
No,
that.
bullshit, come on. These guys are out there fighting for us.
Okay, but-
We need to try to help them.
Listen to me a second, I think it's very important in the wintertime when they salt and plow
Yes,
roads.
it is.
And these guys can't even get to you sometimes if they can't get the roads open.
But that's not the point we're making it,
But I'm saying, there's
I agree with you on
big
that.
money comparisons in other departments too, that's my point.
But these
I mean,
guys
where
put
does
their
it
life
end?
on the lines for us, township. And then the chief sat right there, not last meeting, but 2 meetings ago, and he said, you guys need 2 officers, each shift, 24/7, and your budget won't carry it.
Two each shift.
That's what he said.
That's interesting when Preble County only has 2 officers for the
I
whole
don't care what
county.
Preble County has, we're not in Preble County.
We're right
But it's
close.
okay to compare us to Oakwood.
Yeah, it's
I'm not
okay to
comparing
compare us
you
to
to anybody.
Brookfield, New Lebanon, Oakwood. What's the difference?
I never compared you guys to anybody, I live here.
Well, the comparison's been here.
You know, we've got a lot of discussion going on here. Morgan, you brought us some wonderful topics.
Yeah, it's all good.
You guys, thank you very much for your input. It's very important that we hear that. Sometimes, we need to look at what we call problems and turn it around and call it opportunities. These could be opportunities for growth. You guys are in here of your own accord. We need to sit down with you guys and get the officers' opinions and ideas about how we can help ourselves, not just the trustees, but the whole community.
He did a wonderful job with it.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let's just start with this, because this is what needs to be settled right now. according to the language of that letter, we do not have a police chief, because you took his formal capacity away. So do you have somebody in mind? Are you having a process to bring in a police chief, a supervisor? Because I can't act as a supervisor.
I vote Clarkson.
We've been contacted by a number of people.
Okay, so do you have a process in place? What are you doing? Like what's the next step? Are you setting up interviews?
Yeah, we've got resumes, we've already said bring resumes.
Do you have a date set for that?
We haven't got the date set, no. We have worked with the prosecutors. There again, the prosecutors said one step at a time. That's what we were told.
Okay, because my concern right now is the liability on the officers not having any supervision. You basically have a bunch of part-timers out here not being supervised, because I can't be up here, check reports, check what they're doing each day. I just don't have the time for that. That's what the chief was doing. So we need something in place as far as supervision for them, so that we don't get hit with a lawsuit if something happens. I mean, do you have anything in mind for that?
We do.
When?
Yeah, wait.
Answer his question. Don't go around in a circle, answer his question.
Okay, like that there, we've worked the prosecutor, I've talked to the prosecutor, I believe 3 times today, working in all this.
So
I mean, it's not immediate, it's not, I mean,
So regardless of the argument over the language of formal capacity versus non-formal, on the 19th, he's done.
That's correct.
At the 19th, who's my boss?
Well, hopefully we got somebody, yeah, we'll let you know before then, I'm hoping.
So you have somebody lined up in the next 10 days?
Yes. I think probably before the night's over, we could have somebody, I think.
Okay, are they going to be legally allowed to carry it?
No. I mean,
I'm sure there's no problem in that lined up. At least there's 2 or 3 individuals that would be no problem.
Okay, so there's going to be somebody here within the next day or 2?
Hopefully.
Okay, because
In the next day or 2.
my
How
recommendation.
can we put a time limit on that? See, this is kind of crap that
Because
goes
of the
on.
19th, we don't have a boss.
Let me finish. Due to the liability, if you don't have somebody within the next few days to act as a supervisor, to avoid lawsuit, I suggest that you have the sheriff's office handle calls until you install somebody as a chief. Because the liability of negligent supervision is out the roof. And it'll cost one of these officers everything they have if they go out there and do something and get hemmed up in a lawsuit and have no protection. Have no supervision, have nobody to protect them.
We would have had it at least through the 19th if you wouldn't have put him on administrative leave. He offered to stay for his.
So right now, you are putting the officers at huge liability for civil suits and everything else by not having a supervisor. So I'm asking to protect the officers, because I can't ask them to patrol and risk their entire lives for this. I'm asking that if you don't have somebody within the next few days to supervise them.
So it's up to you. You're
No,
not making
it's,
decisions.
no, it's up to you.
Well, you just said you're saying that.
He's saying he's asking. He's asking the board.
I'm asking you that if you don't have somebody in place as a supervisor within the next few days, that you contact the sheriff's office.
And that's exactly what the prosecutor's office told us in this whole circumstance from the very beginning. They said, it can go a few days, but yes, it needs to be done in a few days. They told us that, yes.
Correct. So I'm asking that if you don't have
And
somebody in a few
we're
days.
working on that, but we can't do it instantaneously.
I didn't say instantaneous. I said in a few days.
Yeah, that's the goal. Absolutely, that's the goal. I mean, what more can we do? I
This
don't.
isn't like we're ignoring.
No.
It's just the
We're
last
not.
time it took 6 months. So I just want to make sure that doesn't happen again. Because the
And-
liability on the officers on the road is
sheriff's
going to be huge.
office, officer, what is it, Chief Deputy
Chief Deputy
Stratton's
Stratton.
in here.
But
yes.
we're not going to get anybody from the sheriff's office to do that again. So it's
How do you
going
know
to be
How do
on
you know
us.
that? Yeah.
Because
You
the
know
sheriff's
that.
office is short-staffed.
Well, you know that for a fact.
I do know that for a fact. You are
So
correct.
he,
I do know
I
that
guess
for a
he
fact.
knows and we don't, so.
Yeah. Because I'm looking out for the officers to make sure that they aren't going to lose everything they have based off of this. So yes, I do know that they are not going to send somebody out here like Chief Deputy Strick last time.
Well, some of the things, that was part of the problem the last time. Some things got pushed at us and we made some decisions on some advice that we probably should have. Too rapidly. And that was part of the problem. We don't want to do that again. We want to, study this thing out and make sure we make the right decisions, because that was part of our problem before. I feel we didn't make the right decisions about things. We didn't get information we should have got when we asked for it. Truth of the matter was, we never seen this last chief's resume. No. Even though we asked, we never saw it.
Okay, then why did you hire him if you didn't go through his resume?
Because
They
the
were-
sheriff's
he was
office
shut down.
told us to.
You guys,
Okay.
you guys.
Okay,
have a
that's-
job
that's
to
where it was
look
at.
And vet everybody properly.
Before
That
you
is your
hired
job.
him,
We
before you
asked for it.
hired him, I myself did my due diligence and looked him up. I thought it was an excellent choice. I even called Lizzie and told her so. Because he had a good background, an unvarnished reputation. And then I was delighted when you hired him. Just as I was delighted when you put the police levy back on the ballot, as I had been coming to the meeting to ask, because I wanted to support our police department. I appreciate you.
Amen.
And I wanted the best for the community, and they haven't had a police levy since, I think, 2001 or 2003, I can't remember, I looked it up. They have required training that they didn't have to have back in 2001. They have, the cost of living everywhere has gone up. I can't imagine what it's like to be a police officer, and the vest, the bullets, training, that's money.
We've paid for that.
I know, but I'm saying, I can see, I can do the math, and this police department needs that levy to be passed.
I think a lot of it's gotten off track because so many people have been attacking and instead of focusing on what we need to focus on and everybody working together to get to where we need to get, people have started attacking people's personal character, and it's gotten way out of hand, and I don't think that that should have ever come inside of this office. I think that what should have been inside of this building is strictly about these officers and the chief and whatever, and everybody's personal business is personal business. Let's leave it there. What they do at home is none of anybody else's business. And let's keep what's inside of this township and in the meetings strictly about the business of the township.
And when it comes to the levies, yeah, you can put them on there, and it's up to the public whether they pass them or not. I mean, that's, okay, they failed them the last time, they failed them several times.
It is, but they look for leadership, I think.
But, you know, I think there's a lot of taxes been paid by a lot of people that's just gone out of hand, and there's only so much they can stand. And they're not gonna stand anymore. They don't want anymore.
So what you're saying is that within a short period of time, there needs to be
Supervision,
other than you.
yes,
For liability reasons.
for liability reasons.
I don't see a problem with that.
Negligent
We'll take
supervision.
care of it. Well,
By Friday?
Let's not put a time frame on it, just a reasonable
What?
time.
I mean,
we'll do what we can do, when we can do it.
Don't raise your voice, Patty.
When we can do
Hey,
it. I'm
calm
raising my
down.
voice because
Excuse me.
sometimes people aren't here. Everybody appears to think that everything can be done yesterday.
What do you?
Man, you think we're not trying?
I mean, what, yeah.
Okay,
What-
does anybody have any more questions for me as far as the PD, the way things are running, anything going on?
I have a
yeah,
question.
I mean, what's your ideal funds? What's your number?
Yeah.
We put a budget together for the last levy. It had everything in there broke down as far as salaries, where we're gonna spend the money, all that stuff. That was all in there.
And that's available.
Yeah, we should have it somewhere. We have files of it. So that broke down, it had, what, like a 10-year plan, 15-year plan on it, where we projected the funds all the way out as far as staffing, cruisers,
And there was a
training,
bunch
all
of
that stuff.
inaccuracies in it. Because did you come to the trustees and get the information? No.
We attempted to. And then
No,
we
you
provided
did not.
it to you.
Never
and then
came
you guys
and
approved
said,
it.
we would have sat down with
Okay.
you.
That's a whole
Mr.
separate
Nelson,
article.
you
Or
put
that's a
out
whole
some
separate
figures
thing.
that were absolutely wrong. You were $100,000 wrong on the figures. No, you put out some figures that were absolutely wrong.
The
And you
numbers I was
declared you
given
were
by
right.
Chief Reinhardt. I could only work with the numbers I was given from Chief Reinhardt.
And you said, oh, these are right. And we said, no, they're incorrect.
Yes, those
Yeah.
were, the math was correct based on the numbers I was given. I can only work with the numbers I
And
can.
we, as trustees, we didn't know what the numbers were.
We
tried
provided
to
it
tell
to
you.
you. We provided it to you several times in meetings. And asked, but before we approved any of the increases or anything else, we provided all that stuff to you. And everything was okay, and then you guys voted on it. And then all of a sudden, there's all these inaccuracies and then everything else.
No, before we purchased
Then why didn't-
cars.
then-
Before we
then
purchased
why didn't
cars,
you
look
come
at
to
the
us
tape,
before?
Look at the DVD. Before
Yes,
we
look at the
purchased cars,
DVD.
I said, the money is not there to do what you're doing. And Chief
Yeah,
Reinhardt said.
we already
"Wait
provided a
minute."
budget to you before that.
And I said, the money's not there to do what you're doing. And Rhonda said, no, here's what the numbers are. And he said, whoa, I think we better table this. And I said, I believe so too. And I kept saying, the money's not there to do this. There were so many inaccuracies on there.
Okay, does anybody else have any other questions?
What's the starting pay for a full-time police officer?
Here?
Yes.
We start out at 18, and then after 6 months, it's 18.
Who in this room that's not a police officer is willing to be shot at for $18 an hour?
Part-timers are what, 16? 15.50 and then 16 after 6.
So what rate would you be willing to be shot at? I didn't put a number on that. There's no, you can't put a number.
We do it every day.
But who can live on $18 an hour? Nobody.
There's people that live on less. Well, there is. Well, I think we get, like I say, I think some of our road department guys don't get that.
But they are out there risking.
They're not risking their lives plowing snow and salting roads for you.
There is a difference.
Okay, why don't you go do it? Try it sometime.
You know what? Fine, I will.
No, you won't.
Put me in the truck,
No, you
I'll do
won't.
it for
You're
you.
not insured to do it, so you won't.
Exactly. I'd stand up for any citizen that's
Yeah.
here, Dale.
Any other questions? Anybody else have anything?
I'd like to say, I back you 100%, and I don't want to fight with nobody. It is an issue, it is a problem. I don't want nobody to get mad or nothing. It needs to be addressed. You're the board, it needs to be taken care of. He's putting you at liability saying that he's not gonna be covered, and they're not gonna be covered. You can get as mad as you want, scream and holler, but we're at a situation where it needs to be addressed. It's true.
I don't know how plain we
The
can
board
say
is
that.
on being noticed. That's what everybody's saying, and he's saying that plain as day.
And how much plainer can we say, as soon as we can get it done, we're gonna get it done?
It might be tonight.
Maybe.
It might be.
Maybe it may be,
That's what we want to
but it
hear.
may not be Thursday.
But this is
What-
something that should have been worked out when you placed the chief on leave.
Yes. We didn't know he was resigning.
Because what the sergeant is saying.
It doesn't matter when he-
Something could
when they
happen.
place him on.
I understand you saying that it could be done in a day or two.
Right.
But what the sergeant is saying is perfectly factual. Something could happen in 30 minutes out here with these guys.
It's a
And there you go.
priority. It's a priority.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, last thing I have is, I have my resignation. It's effective 2 weeks from today, and I was asked by 3 other officers to turn in theirs also.
So who are these officers?
It's Officer Clarkson, Officer Potter, and Officer Wireman.
Really? Like, you have been out here for, I was trying to get to Clarkston, but you're a little taller than he is, so. You've been out here for so long, and you have you've really, like I said, I was talking to a previous officer the other day who was really high up here. And I actually threw your name out there, and every time that I've had a call and you have answered it, you have been as quick to respond as possible. You are laid back when the situation isn't called for being, you know, a jerk face. If somebody calls and says they're shooting guns or whatever, you come out, you check on us, have a nice day, see you later. I'm curious as to why, I mean, unless it's personal, I have a lot of respect for you as an officer, and I question why you're putting that in.
Thank you for your compliments. Basically, I can't take the risk of putting my family and my household and what it's going to do without having a supervisor out here.
Amen.
Agreed.
So if they get a supervisor out here within a timely manner,
I can't make any
can
decisions
I
until there's something else.
finish? Can we
Here-
have our conversation without everybody dipping in?
I'm gonna kind of speak for them and explain stuff because they don't have other jobs, so they're going to be applying to other places. So what's in their resignation is what's in their resignation. Because they don't want to jeopardize other employment or anything else.
Right.
So what's in their resignation is what's in their resignation. It's 2 weeks effective from today.
Respect for that.
So if we get supervision, it's still a resignation.
That's up to them. They can withdraw it if they want to, or that's all up to them. That's up to them and the board of trustees. And now, if they want to speak beyond that, that's up to them, but just don't push them for things because it can jeopardize future employment.
Well, I guess I'm really confused about all this. I mean, I understand the part about they need supervision. I totally understand that. But we had a fatality accident in this township a few weeks back, and there was an officer there, and I will not name who it was.
It was me.
Okay. I wasn't gonna go there. 3 weeks later, we had another accident. You told me you hadn't even spoken to the chief in like 3 weeks. That's what you told me.
I have.
Okay.
I work nights, he works days.
Okay, so what kind of supervision is that? That was part of the whole situation.
The issue, Dale, with that is,
And I'm
I may not
confused.
speak to the man in 3 weeks, but if I have a use of force,
I
he's gonna come to court.
But I thought at that point, when I'm hearing this, I was like, really? You're not getting any advice or direction from the chief?
Chief was
That
there when I
greatly
needed it.
concerned me. That greatly concerned me. Thinking, you should be hearing from this chief.
Officer Potter is an experienced officer.
I
and
know
knows his
that.
job.
I understand that totally.
So
But still,
when
I
he needs
thought,
advice from something, the chief is there.
I
and
thought the
knows it.
chief would be there to give him direction periodically.
He is, if I need
Correct. If he
it.
But 3 weeks and you don't, I can't imagine not talking
He
to him.
doesn't have to talk to him. He doesn't have to talk to him.
Well,
I just want to say one thing, and then
I
I'm not going to talk anymore. Unfortunately, have not been able to come to these meetings, but I've been watching them on Facebook, and I've been very involved with some other citizens in the community. And one of the things I want to say is this: everything in life rises and falls on leadership. Okay, everything falls down. And I've been watching these videos, and I've seen better behavior in a nursery school than I have in these tables here. Ken, you came on late, so I'm not going to include you in that. Melissa, same for you. So, but I will say this: the yelling, the screaming, the name calling, it's unbecoming. As adults, it's unbecoming. As leaders in the community, it's unbecoming. As trustees, I volunteer my time for Brookville. I am a Chamber of Commerce leader. I volunteer my time. I'm there at least 3 times a week, sometimes 4 or 5 times, a month, sometimes 4 or 5. I dedicate my time. I don't even live in the city, but I live in the township. And so my point is, we can talk about all the problems in the world. We can talk about the problems in the past. We can talk about the problems last week. What we're looking for are solutions. Let's stop talking about the problems and let's start talking about solutions. That's really, I think, what it boils down to for me as a citizen. And now that we have obviously no police force, that's a huge concern. And so regardless of what happened yesterday, last week, last month, let's put our heads together and let's come up with some solutions. We've got 2 police chiefs here that have came here of their own free will and fruition. Let's lean on them for some advice and guidance. They know how to run a department. They've been running the department for years. Let's take advantage of their knowledge and their education. Let's get together as a community Brookville, New Lebanon, Clay Township, wherever, and let's get some pen to the paper and let's get some things moving forward instead of looking backwards. So that's all I want to say.
Amen.
This is exactly what I've been talking about. These aren't really problems, these are opportunities for growth. If we all put our heads together, we can come up with the solutions necessary. But all of this bickering and backbiting and all that.
Well, Kim, the issue is it's dealing with,
Ron.
we're dealing with this,
Ron.
I'm sorry, Ron. We're dealing, I can't see that far. We're dealing with symptoms.
Exactly.
We're not dealing with the problem.
That's exactly the point. You know, none of this can be done overnight.
I understand.
And I tell you what, these other trustees and I have put a lot of time and effort into what's going on here. A lot of people talk about the budget. I've got it here in front of me. I know exactly what the numbers are. I don't care about the levy. If it passes, it's because that's what the people want. If it doesn't pass, that might be a shame when I look these numbers over next month. I want to go by data that is true and it never changes. The truth never changes. You know, and it's like these fellows want to have some kind of solution by Friday. I can't guarantee that. None of us can. What we can do is we can promise you that we're going to do everything we can do in our power to make this better. You know, down is easy, up's a little harder. You know, the recommendation that I offered these guys before, to get all the officers together and talk about where the concerns are and how to rectify those. Those are the things that we need to do.
Absolutely. So when Chief resigned, or when he tendered his resignation and then he was put on when was he put on administrative leave? How long ago?
It was effective Monday.
It was effective Monday, like yesterday?
Per the letter, it was effective Monday.
Yeah, Monday. Right.
Okay, when was it announced, or how long ago did we know this was coming?
His resignation?
Yeah.
We didn't know.
Didn't?
He gave it last month.
It was
Sorry?
presented.
Monday prior.
The Monday prior?
Yeah, so it was a week ago yesterday.
Okay, so at that point, I guess what we're all looking for is, we know it's not gonna take overnight, but the thing is do we have candidates, do we have names?
Yes.
Yes.
Do we have people that we're going to be calling? Because my thing is this, you know, I mean, I've worked 2-3 jobs my entire life, and I've worked hard to where I've gotten, and if I didn't have a job, my job was to get a job.
Exactly.
And so in this case, you are trustees, you're paid trustees, and so 8 o'clock in the morning till however long it takes, that's when I think we need to be getting this resolution, at least getting started and getting to the point where these guys, you know, whether they stay or whether they go, it's beside the point. The point is we've got to have leadership in place for the police department, and however long that takes, and if it takes all day tomorrow to get these phone, I mean, I'm just you know, making a comment to say, let's get what we need to do as fast as we can, and however long it takes, at least let's not burn daylight doing it. Let's do it.
We
Last time we had a
only
vacancy.
have 24 hours a day,
I get it.
like you, and we utilize as much of that time as we can
I get it.
for the benefit of the people and the township.
That's all I'm asking for.
And if
You're
any-
elected officials and you
What?
answer to the people. That's what he's trying to say, I think.
Yes.
Well, what do you think
Thank
we're
you.
doing?
We gotta look,
I'm saying that's what.
we can't dwell, like you say, on the past
Right.
things, but we gotta look at them and see what mistakes we think was made. And try to come up with a better system the next time.
I understand that.
We do got to do that.
Well, you can look at it, but you don't have to dwell on it.
No,
Yeah.
I agree, you're correct.
Yeah.
No, we don't need to dwell on it, but
Yeah.
we do need to look at
It's
to
only a
see what
mistake.
errors we think or what corrections we can make.
It's only a mistake if we don't learn from it.
Sure.
If we learn
I
from
mean-
it, we can go up.
Right.
Going down's easy, going up's a little
Well, I think
harder.
that falls into the category of the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
It's doing the same thing over and over again.
You know, I'm new to this.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you I'm willing to put a lot of time and effort into this.
And Ron, that's all we can ask as citizens. You know, you guys were elected, you're trustees, and you work for the township. And so, you know, our faith and trust has got to be put in your hands. And I think as we see things falling, you know, the chief's resigning, officers resigning, I look at it, why are they resigning?
That's right.
That's what we.
And it's got, and again, it points me back to my very first comment, everything rises and falls on leadership.
That's why we gotta know.
And it's gone on for back 5 years. I mean, this ain't a new thing.
Well,
I mean, it needs
to
gone on
change.
back. I agree. This ain't just, you know, it's been said, well, it was the last 6 months or 9 months. Well, we had one prior, he retired, but prior to that, and that's really when the problem all started, back 5 years back. I mean, we had an excellent police department here back.
Well, my son-in-law patrolled here a few years ago, so.
I mean, it was known, it was magnificent here. We had other agencies came to us, asking us to do patrol for them at that time. We never did it, but we were asked.
Well, something's happened for
Well,
that to cause that.
That's when it
unraveled.
Unraveled, exactly.
So you feel
But
it's
that was then,
Chief
this is
Reinhardt's?
now.
It was Chief Reinhardt, he's the one that was here, is that what you're
No,
saying?
it was prior to that. It was prior to that, when the chief prior to Reinhardt left is when it all come unglued here.
Oh, okay.
That's when it happened.
Bowman.
He never was here.
That was Bob Bowman, am I
He was
correct?
never
He
here?
wasn't at any of the meetings.
Who's that?
Bowman.
Well, there again, we're not gonna dwell on all
Yeah,
of that.
that's right.
We had an excellent police department back at that time.
I'm not saying we didn't have a good police department.
That's not what I
We didn't
heard.
have good supervision all the time.
Well, you weren't involved at that point in time.
Again, we're going back. Let's
Like you said.
focus on getting a resolution here and a solution so we can have a safe community.
Well,
Go ahead.
Officer Wireman would like to speak.
I've been here since about 2010. It's a great community. You guys, as the township, you have no clue of the quality of chief we had with Adams. He knew his stuff. He was run out of town. It is sad. To me, your leadership you talk about, if he was such one for the police department, he'd be standing up, wanting, encouraging the levy to pass, so to get the money to pay to make it work. The leadership has shown its head tonight.
I agree.
And I feel sorry for the township. I hope it gets better.
I agree.
And I want to thank all of you officers
Yes.
and for the things that you do.
Yeah,
God bless you guys. You guys have been awesome, every last one of you, and I'm sorry that it's turned out this way. I really am. And as a community, we should have stepped up a long time ago to back you, and I'm sorry we failed you. God bless you, and I hope you do well anywhere you go.
and if any of you need a reference, I have to give any of you a good reference, and I will. And I have other officers that have left, oftentimes in the past. You know, I don't think any one of you that gave a resignation here that I could say I couldn't give you a good reference. I would, and I will. And I have others, you know, but like I said, they've been, others have moved, and I'm not, I mean.
Why don't we try to fix it before they say, I don't want to leave, because you did the right thing. Our trustees did the right thing, and we don't want to leave. We'll pull our
I agree.
I would have been begging y'all.
That would be a better issue than saying, they're going to leave, it happens, it happens. That's not what we want.
Yeah,
We need-
really not in our control, but it's, we've already said.
That's what we need to work
We
for.
want to do the best we
We
can do.
don't want them to leave,
I don't.
okay?
We have our
need to
head
work
good
towards
What
that
do we
issue
need to do to keep
diligently
you here is what you should.
and get it resolved, so they don't leave. There's a small pool, remember?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We don't need them to leave.
That's right. Be done.
So get it resolved, and they might stay. Does that make more sense?
Well, I mean, it does, but like I
You
said.
can't even get a car right now.
Huh?
You can't even get your cars right now, let alone officers.
We've got cars.
I picked the new one
The
up.
two new ones, well, you got it earlier, you said.
Yeah, I was able to see, I'm
Well,
accustomed to
past
seeing the
cars,
back seat.
we need to resolve this issue now.
At one point in time, I believe we had 35 individuals on our roster out there. That's right. And we encouraged back 5 years ago or so, we need more people back in, but never
Well,
happened.
you're losing three, we need to stop that.
I know.
Problem is that the way it was back then when we had 35 officers, you had the academies pumping out people left and right, and nobody was hiring. So and people were working. When I started here as auxiliary, I was unpaid, and we used to run 3 cars with 2 officers in it.
I
And we
saw
used
the
to have to
problem
fight
coming
for
at that
seats.
point. I was like, we need to get people.
So we had lots of people here, but everybody was unpaid. And the problem is that with the people today, trying to get them to even work part-time is tough, because people don't want to work for free. And then you have the issue with right now, there's a lot of hiring processes going on. So there are people out there to hire, it's just they're few and far between at the moment. And then you have the other issue of people's work ethics are different. So you can't have a roster of 40 auxiliary anymore. What you need to do is what the last 2 police chiefs have said, and what we've been trying to push as a PD, is more full-timers that are experienced, that know the township and will stay here.
Yeah.
But to do that, it costs money.
Amen.
Fuel costs are going up, dispatching costs are going
And
up.
we've never been out of that money.
Equipment costs are
We've
going up.
always had the money. We've never ran out of the money.
How much carryover has there been on average each year?
We've had as much as 120,000 carryover.
Not per year.
It's not per year.
Per year, what's the average carryover?
It's varied, I mean,
Right now.
Hasn't it decreased?
35,000.
Okay, what's the cost of a new cruiser?
Well, wait, right now, after purchasing 2 new cruisers and having them totally decked out, we stand at, wrong sheet,
112,000.
$103,583.
And unfortunately
And
for the
we-
people of the township, you've saved a whole lot of money on manpower.
And
Correct.
we have an additional $29,000 coming in next month.
So why is it not being spent? Why
Because
is
we
it,
haven't hired people.
why aren't you paying?
We haven't hired people.
Because there's currently,
You
what,
have to keep
4
the money
full-time
in there
vacancies
for when
now?
you get
3 or
more
4?
people. You can't just raise the people.
What
I
I'm
mean,
saying
you
though,
have to-
if you keep going back to, we have more money than we need, we have a carryover every year, over every year, and that's why we don't need a levy pass?
How much is a cruiser cost?
27,000.
After it's been upfitted.
No,
It's closer to
I'm
38.
saying the cruiser, but then when we,
They're paying, they have.
I believe the other up stuff was
Some
about
out, some
7,500.
Get into next year.
Keep going, Dale. Probably a little more than that.
Cool. No, it's not. We've got the figures. 34,000 is what we paid for 2 cruisers.
But is it?
Now, we paid for half of them, so $34,000 is what we paid for the cruiser. We just signed a check the other day.
But does it have all the proper equipment and
Yes.
everything
Yeah,
with
that-
that,
Yes.
that price tag?
That's after
Yes.
upfit and then
That's after it's
after.
upfit, $34,000.
And that,
No,
Yes,
that-
$34,000 each, yes. We paid for one this year and another one next year, yes.
they're discontinuing the cars, so we purchased those. We weren't.
I give Miss Mears credit, she found them and
They were also state bid cars.
they were state bid, yes. If you
Correct.
don't understand
But-
what state bid is, they go out and maybe buy 100 of them. Then they offer them to government agencies at a lower rate than what regular people pay.
But the issue is that you're running your budget on a margin of, if we go out there and hit a deer, that's the entire carryover, and we're possibly.
No,
losing
we're
on that.
insured. It covers the car. We're insured.
All the
Come
outfit and
on.
everything?
Yes, we're insured. You think we don't pay how many
Is that-
$1,000 a year in
Rhonda,
insurance?
that's a true, where
Yes.
it covers everything.
Okay.
It's covered.
I just for everybody
See,
else.
that's some more wrong information that's given out. We're covered. We're insured. Come on, we pay, I think
So what would
$25,000
your
insurance a
suggestion if this
year.
levy, and if it doesn't pass, then what?
If it doesn't pass?
If it doesn't, how do you see this?
If it doesn't pass, I mean, yeah, we projected out, what, two years, and we'd be.
2 years and the department's bankrupt.
Yep, 2 years.
And that's not including hiring the full-timers back.
Well, I don't know whose provisions them are, but.
Is that, have you guys sat down with, like, Rhonda and gone over that budget? Has it been,
No.
like, have you sat down and gone over that to know that, like, those are the exact numbers? and
That's
that
the numbers
there's
we got as
no-
far as cost of officer with benefits.
That's the numbers you got from who?
From Rhonda.
Okay.
as far as insurance, retirement, all that stuff, those were the figures that we were providing. Because I know at first there was a discrepancy because we got one that was, it was off a little bit, and then we adjusted it.
With the insurance, yeah,
Yes.
with what we were paying to join the county's insurance, and Rhonda helped us correct that.
See, we were told, and the police chief, the one that just left, see, there was some of the inaccuracies, and it was in writing, because I was given the letter that he put out to a person out here in the public. He was never given the budget, and I know that for a fact, to be
He
wrong.
wrote it to me. If
Yes, he
anybody's-
did.
if
And I
anybody
personally
wants to
carried
know.
that budget in there and said, here it is, here's the line items. When you purchase something, you need to determine what line items you want that taken
He
out
was
of.
told 3 times
Yes.
by different people. He got the budget by 2 different people. Rhonda gave it to him once. Dale handed to him in person. He was told
That's
multiple
right.
times, if you need to appropriate this, how you want to appropriate it, if you need to move money here or put in a new line and have this amount of money here. Rhonda told him, you need to cut, we need to talk this over, let me know what you need to do. He told me that he had to call the county auditor to get the budget, which was a big, fat
The county
lie.
auditor would not even have the
The
budget.
county
first.
auditor said that they hadn't heard from him. So he,
And
like, I get
have
that
the
he
email-
presents
and I have
himself.
the email.
That's right.
I get that he
emailed
presents
the
So see, we
himself
were told
in a
some
certain
facts that were
light
not
to
true.
you guys, but when I'm getting information as a resident and I have that budget myself and it was that easy to get, he's in this office. Why in the hell couldn't he get that budget? I don't believe for 1 second that she didn't hand him that budget.
I can't speak to what the chief did. I can only follow the orders of my chief. When
I
when I'm
understand
asked
that.
to,
I'm not,
here's
I'm sorry,
numbers.
I wasn't trying to come
Yeah,
at you crooked.
yeah.
I
mean,
just got
when I'm
heated
given
and-
here's numbers and the chief asks me, you've got analysis background, can you analyze this and would you mind doing a workup?
But why
I
is
can
it
only
your
work with the
job
number
to
I'm
do that
given.
when he has a
I
fiscal
volunteered that.
officer?
I volunteered that because
But
I
he
wanted
has
to
a
take it.
fiscal officer who's getting paid.
I'm not him. I can't speak to what the chief did.
But that's
I'm just saying-
one of a lot
Telling
of
you
problems
what.
that the public don't know about. That's
But once
one of
again,
a lot.
let's, as he so eloquently put it, we can sit here all night talking about the
I know,
problems
but
that are gone. You guys
I
need to start
agree,
coming
but
up
don't
with solutions.
bash us all to pieces about getting rid of how we run the chief off, because there's more behind it all than a lot of people know. That's the thing. You can say what a wonderful guy he was and all, but maybe you didn't see all the things we see and had to deal with either.
They don't see the things that happen on the other side.
Well, that's maybe, I don't know. I saw some good things out of the man. I'm not, never denying that. I did, absolutely. But there were some things that was the other way also.
We're not here to cast aspersions on anyone. What we're trying to do is get some kind of resolve, some kind of answer. And we're not getting it done by arguing about who did this and who did that. We need to have the officers and the trustees sit down and get some bottom line stuff. I'm sure that there are some things the officers do not know that we do, and I'm sure there's a whole lot you guys know that we don't know. You know, I'm dedicated to this township, and I'm sure you guys have been. I understand the idea that you may be in trouble if something happens without somebody as a supervisor. We need to address that, and we will do that real soon. But we can't do it until we can do it.
So with all of
And-
us sitting here, are you guys willing to take him up on his offer and meet with him? Or all of them, or whoever it is, are you guys willing to do that and everybody kind of?
And we mean to
Come
do
up with
that
a
with
solution.
everybody getting their regular pay to come in to do that. To sit
Now that
down and
there's
talk
no
about it. We already
in-between.
talked about this.
Yes, we did.
You know, we're willing to pay you guys to come in and give us your opinions, your ideas, your recommendations of how to make this a better deal. That's what we're after. We don't want anybody struggling in this deal. And the farthest thing from my mind is just levy. I don't care. If it goes through, fine. If it doesn't, fine. Got numbers right here. And if these compare out and we see that we got money that we can pay more officers or more money to officers, we're more than willing to do that. But we can't address any of these problems that you fellows have and know about until we know about it. And until then, all we got is hearsay.
I mean, I'm one, whether you got the money or you don't have the money of that levy, I say somehow make it work. Figure out a way and make it work.
We got good
That's
officers
my
here,
intentions.
and I want to see these officers stay, but if we can't come to a resolution, we can't. If everybody says, oh, I'm leaving, what are we supposed to do? Throw a ball and chain on you and say you gotta stay? What we gotta do is we gotta work together to come to some kind of resolve.
You've had two police chiefs. One, the one that retired was here for a long, long time. And
Okay, I also had a back operation, and I'm not limping today. I'm trying to get better. That's in the past.
Okay,
We don't care anything about it.
listen to what I'm saying. You had a police chief prior that was here for years and years and years and came forward with a plan to move forward the direction that the PD should go. He then retired. You then had a new chief that came in who came forward with another plan that, from everything I saw from it, the main points were exactly the same. More full-timers, more experienced people, and retain them. And he's now gone. So, I mean, you've had two different police chiefs that have basically had essentially the same goals, and there's fights at every turn.
Let me ask you something. If you looked at your checkbook and you were really close to an overdraft.
I would go back through and look at every transaction I had to see where all the money
was. If you looked at it and you were really close to an overdraft, would you go buy a steering wheel cover and air freshener for the car?
Now we're being compared to air fresheners.
Yes.
No, because your chief went and bought steering wheel covers and
I don't blame
everything.
them for resigning with your attitude.
It's not an attitude, it's
Yes,
the only.
it is an attitude. You're not working forward, you're going backwards, you're fighting.
Man,
Why, I mean,
you
yeah,
hearing
let-
something
yeah,
I'm
let-
not hearing?
Yeah, you're not hearing them, they're leaving. You need to
What?
be kissing butt.
You're still coming up
No,
with
I don't kiss butt. What I do is what you
You're
people
you're
put in there.
telling the board, or they're starting.
Well,
You got to resolve it.
okay, I guess they're not willing to work with us. What do we do here? I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not seeing that they're, I don't know.
Start listening for
Yeah.
one thing.
Okay, I'm listening. What do we do?
They keep telling you.
Okay, what?
And it sounds like they've been
Wait,
telling you for
okay,
years.
what do we do? They've resigned. What do we do? What should we do now?
They told
I
you that
don't-
while they were resigning, they feel
Okay.
unprotected by you guys.
No, they
feel
felt
don't have a-
unprotected
I'm
because
talking.
the chief resigned.
I'm talking.
No, that's incorrect.
They feel unprotected. They told you they don't feel like they can go out there and do their job without a boss or somebody as a supervisor.
Okay, and we said we're working on that. What can we do other, I mean, what more do we?
The last 2 meetings I've been to, you've been working on the same thing and you're not giving them any kind, you didn't say, hey man, how about you guys stick around a little bit? Well, I think we got this covered. I haven't heard anything other than just, here you go. And these are good officers, man.
The last
And they
meeting
know
we
the
had-
area. They live in the area, many of them.
The last meeting we had no resignation.
They don't live in this township.
You're making that up. There was
Making what up?
There was no resignation on the last meeting that we had. He hadn't resigned.
The last special meeting we had here is when you accepted his resignation. I sat right here and watched last.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a special meeting.
Yeah.
So should we?
But you got good people here. They got good people. They didn't want to stay. You guys are doing something else. That's all I'm saying.
What do
I don't have
you
any.
suggest?
I don't know what we,
What do
yeah.
you suggest?
Can I suggest something? I don't know if I'm allowed to talk or not, but.
Sure.
You have an idea to get together with the officers, to pay them to come to a meeting, to set up a date right now for this meeting. You know, set a time, set a date, get them in here, hear what they've got to say, and, you know, try to work something out. And in the meantime, if the meeting's, I don't know, Friday, Monday, whenever it is, perhaps you'll have another chief lined up, or, I mean, you're talking about having a meeting with them, stop talking about it and schedule it.
I will also say
Step
these two
one.
chiefs here would also participate in that meeting.
Oh, you will?
Absolutely. We need
Take
all the
the
help we
first,
can get.
take the first step.
Set a date. He couldn't make it no more plainer. He told you earlier what he needed.
That would
It was
be
plain as
first step
that.
forward.
It couldn't be no more straighter.
Well, I guess.
He's the guy who's in trouble. He's liable.
Way he resigned though. And that's where I'm confused,
want-
so.
Okay, so we're going in circles.
Yeah.
We're going in
Well, I know.
circles here, and it's
Set
just
the
gonna
meeting.
keep going in circles all night long.
So is he gonna go ahead and resign if it isn't work? It's like,
Maybe he won't.
well, okay, that's fine if he won't, maybe.
How do you have all these answers? You're always
Yeah,
negative.
it's-
No, I'm not negative, I'm not mean to be negative, I'm just trying to figure out what,
Here's the deal, I wanna see this work out, because I just bought property on Providence and I'm building a house. So I'm about to be a resident. So I want this to work out. Right now, I'm resigning because we've been trying since, what, a year now? And things are getting nowhere and they're just getting worse.
So you guys are gonna set a date to meet, right?
It's not
And
up
a
to
time?
me.
Like, you're
Well-
willing to do that?
They don't set.
It's not up to me.
I'm asking if you're willing to meet with them. Okay, and you're willing to meet with them?
yes.
All
we
right,
said that all
well,
the
let's make this happen then.
So we're gonna set a date?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
Again, the chiefs have
Please, guys.
busy schedules, so.
right, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
with everybody sitting here and everybody knowing
Can't do
what's
it
going
now.
on, you have both agreed
Doug?
to meet.
so are we gonna have it, is it gonna be any different what we got right here now?
Can work that into your schedule.
Yeah, but you'll have to set it as a public meeting since you'll all three be present, so.
Yeah, it's not a public meeting.
They'll be able to, citizens will be able to attend too. 'cause you'll have
Exactly,
to
so it ain't gonna
have
be
this
different what we
open
got right now.
You'll have to have it as an open forum, and maybe
Right.
get a couple citizens to be a volunteer to be a spokesman. if they wanna have
It's
some
like I
input.
said, so we're having it basically right now.
Well,
It ain't gonna be different than well, no, not all the officers are here, but we're having it, it's not gonna be different what we got right now. I mean,
Is there a constraint about all the officers from Perry Township meeting with the trustees? Does that have to be an open meeting? I don't think.
No, they can attend, that's not the issue, but you would have to be a public meeting since you'll all three be there. So it'd have
You
to be.
can't
so that's
make it-
about employment, you could go
Can you
into
make it
executive
executive?
session.
Part of it.
No, that I don't know, you'd have to ask the prosecutor about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's pushing it for executive.
I don't know, you'd have to ask them.
Well, I think it should be executive session.
Well, I know, I,
We really, as much as I love all you guys, we really need to talk to the officers and having it in executive session.
Well, I wouldn't have a problem as one of us, if you guys just all got together and did it yourself. If you guys come up with something, help everybody.
There's
I'll stay
legalities.
home.
There's legalities
By law,
and
it has to be
and
a public
administrative
meeting.
law.
What you're saying, anyone go into executive session, so they open up a public meeting, they go into executive session to meet with you guys, you have your discussion, they come back out and they,
As long as it falls under the executive session qualifier.
Right.
I just don't know the legality of that.
we can bring the prosecutors in.
Because it's not exactly employment, because we're not discussing our employment, we're discussing the future of the police
Yeah.
department.
Strategy.
Yes.
The prosecutors, they could even attend.
You'd have to ask them.
They would.
You don't think you need to attend, but you'd have to ask.
They could attend even in.
I don't know that you could do
It would fall under employment, you can do that in executive
Executive
session.
session can only be held for one of the following reasons.
You've been wrong before, Ms. Bertelson, the prosecutors have told us.
Can we, can we not?
You've been told before, and the prosecutors have told us you were wrong.
I'm reading it from.
I don't care what you're reading, they have said you were wrong.
Can we
Okay, well, I don't care, but I'm just telling you that
He's gone.
according to the
We'll get
ORC,
the
sunshine
advice from the
laws,
prosecutors,
certain
our legal
personnel
advice, not
matters,
you.
collective bargaining
I don't think
matters.
they're an attorney.
Okay.
Well, I have paperwork from, the prosecutor that negates what your ORC says, so. Whoa. And I'm not being smart ass about that, I'm just telling you the truth.
Employment matters would qualify for.
That's right.
Yes.
Executive session.
Right.
And this
I
is
was
about-
I was trying to help. I was going to read you what the executive session.
You're right on the money. You're right on the money.
How about this? How about you contact the prosecutor's office and make sure what it needs to be? And then we'll all get with our officers and figure out what a good date is for them. And then we can run that by the chiefs, because I know their schedules are gonna be
But I would also tell them that you're looking at like a strategic planning
Yeah,
session.
yeah, it's
You're
not
not
just
looking at an
appointment.
employment
Right.
thing
Yeah.
to look, promote,
This is
that's
a
where
plan.
that comes in. You're looking at a strategic planning session with 3 elected officials.
Yes.
That's the only thing you need to ask. And I'm sure if you do that strategic plan like the city just did, we had to leave that open to the public, and we did have a reporter that showed up. So when you have that, it has to be open to the public, to my knowledge.
Which I'm sure if we explained what we were doing and just asked everybody to hold their comments and had questions at the end, I'm sure we could get through that.
Yeah, right.
It might be harder for some than others.
That was a
but,
good
you know,
joke.
I have faith that everybody can restrain themselves for a little bit.
I am funny.
Oh, you're not.
I'm hilarious.
We've heard you for a half
Quit,
hour.
quit. You're like, seriously.
Okay, well, but we need to just
Yeah, move on.
move on to the rest of this. And we'll check with that and see what we can get for range and time. The minutes from the regular trustee meeting, September 11th, approved.
I make a motion that we accept them.
Second.
Mears,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Sim,
Yes.
regular special meeting.
Special meeting, we need the minutes approved from the October 3rd special meeting.
I make a motion that we accept them.
For a second.
Second.
Mears,
Yes.
Sim,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
I make a motion that we pay checks 33790 to 33852.
is there a second? Do we have a second for payment of bills?
Yes.
Mears, Sim, Price.
Yes.
Just not
The only thing I would say about my report is tri-bill aggregation meeting will be held at the Township Hall next, let's see, October 15th, next Monday at 6:30. And that's all of my report.
Okay.
We chip and sealed Hickman Ford Road. They did a great job, and we finally got the last tree trimmed at Pleasant Hill.
Sit down, please, we're trying to conduct the rest of the meeting a little bit, we can't even hear.
Been mowing roads, and we're going, I think we're gonna try to start on Aspen down there, that crosswalk. So, that'd be it.
Zoning?
Zoning, the fourth quarter trash bills have been mailed. The payments are due November 1 to avoid the late fee. This is what the trash bills come on, this little postcard printed on one side. It's easy to miss in your mailbox, so I just want to show you what it looks like.
Oh, hi, Brad, I didn't see you there.
Per the ORC 519.13, the Township Trustees need to appoint someone to fill the vacancy on the Board of Zoning Appeals. Some townships do post the position when they have an opening, but I have never said that Perry Township would post the position. So it is up to the trustees to appoint someone. And I have attached ORC 51913 to my report for you to see. There is an opening currently on the BZA. That's it. Oh, no, I'm sorry, one more thing. I issued a permit for a deck on 15010 Schoolhouse Road. That's it.
I so move we appoint Chuck Sweet to fill that position.
Second.
And I make a motion that we accept.
You gotta
the rest-
vote on that.
Oh, sorry.
Sim,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Mears.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Make a motion to accept the resignation of Chad Cottingen effective October 15th, 2018.
Second.
Mears,
Yes.
Sim,
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
And I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Mears?
Yes.
Sim?
Yes.
Price?
Yes.
Oh.
Scott Melinda?
Yeah.
That's what I heard. It's absolutely true.
I wonder where he's at with that. I couldn't believe all this off for sale sign he already don't get.
I'm like,
Maybe a year.
I'm like, I don't even used to talk to you.
Serious. You know where they used to live? They're on Westbrook, that little, they rented it. Like, little teeny tiny
What the
house.
world are you talking about?
I don't know.
I hate to lose them too.
I don't know of anybody.
They requested detailed reports.
Yeah.
of the
That's right. Never hurts to know somebody like that. So his daughter lives at Monster's house.
What?
Both chiefs requested detailed reports of the line items of the police budget so they could create an accurate and effective budget.
Go to that.
The project operating costs for the future. Failure of these documents were provided to them.
I
It's
don't.
made this task
That's
impossible.
bullshit. That's bullshit.
I tell you what, next time I give anybody anything, I'm gonna have them sign it. If they're gonna accuse me of not giving them
Well,
information, that's ridiculous.
that right there
Good idea.
is, did you read this letter? What the world is he talking about? That's total, absolute wrong there. A substandard applicant. I don't even know who he was, who he was even talking about.
I thought you were saying.
I've never been involved.
That's just. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. See, I'm totally screwed up. I'm totally, I don't know what I'm talking about. Hi, Rhonda.
See y'all.
Remember, Cindy said tell me
That's-
Cindy.
Haven't seen you for a while.
I know.
Good to see you.
Well, that's what happens when.
It's absolutely bizarre. That is totally.
We have one at night and one in the morning.
Okay.
But now we're just down to one at night.
Oh, I thought it was the opposite.
Oh,
I'm
well,
confused.
I sent you an email, let you know.
Do you know anything about Mr. Whitman, TJ Littleton's resume? Remember TJ Littleton?
You know, I remember the name.
He was here for a long time, now he's the police chief at.
I'm gonna call Cook.
Does have it.
Tell him I want my driveway
But we didn't get to that
tomorrow.
point.
Want it done tomorrow.
I think that would be the best thing if they could get him.
I don't
I mean, I'm sure he
understand.
has kind of, his 2 weeks.
They had-
Right.
And he says it's very,
You know, the funny thing, I don't remember.
Well,
because he
this
never
one
came
here
after we
says,
talked.
Okay.
this one
So
here
when I
says
pay, I see the name. So
Right.
And,
that I was involved in hiring
I just, the one
somebody
thing that's
else.
still pulled it out the other day was the workers' comp claim. But it was.
Oh, no.
It didn't happen. He just accidentally slipped and went through, somebody's last page or something. Very minor, wasn't any good thing. But I still have that in my file
Well,
when I
and
heard
the
that
only-
name. I know who that
I
is.
remember him. The only, I met him when we started sending care packages to 4 of our officers at River City.
Okay.
So, and we've kept in touch ever since then.
Yeah, he met Missy today. And said that, and I said, we're gonna go. It's like this.
Okay.
Just,
do you have anybody in mind or anything? And they said, yes. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, we have a couple. Yeah. we have
What
a
happened to
couple.
the guy at Clay Township? Scott? I heard he was up for it.
He was up for it, but never did for the work.
Didn't like him.
There was too many,
Oh. Yeah, you don't want to take that on.
Kate, I'll get it, it's okay.
I'm just going to play enough.
Oh, it's fine.
Well, no, I know, it's at 9, I'll be back.
Yes, 6
Because
o'clock,
I
second
realized-
Tuesday of each month.
Second Tuesday.
Yeah, now unless we have special meetings.
Yeah, and
Something like that.
Lambert came to the last one because it was
Yeah,
late.
he did.
And I was at work, and so I watched it on video. And I'm glad
Okay.
she does that, so we can keep up with what's going on.
Okay.
When we can attend.
Well, it's good to see you again.
Glad you're still with us. And are you?
This
you
is
took
Kate.
over
Tara's job.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So
She's
something I was gonna
wonderful.
ask you, and I think it might have just been about the resume.
I
so-
was until tonight.
No,
Oh,
no,
well, I love how you
no.
said, can I talk? Well, yeah, oh my God. Well, I'm sending times, live right down, like, am I right away?
Yeah, that
Amity.
way. Probably what, 1/3 house maybe?
2 or 4, yeah, not very far. Yeah.
Hey, let me know if they set a date
I will,
ahead of time.
I will.
Every time.
I'll be calling the prosecutor.
Like not the day before, right?
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
get with,
Yeah, because a strategic thing, I think they're good, but, yeah, that going executive, I don't think that's gonna work.
As long as, just no, and you say no comments from the.
That'd be easy enough, that'd
Yeah.
be easy enough, you like that?
Maybe-
Sure, we can give our mouth shut.
We might be able to swing maybe the 3 that haven't left yet. I mean, if you could save those 3, that might save you. 'Cause I'll tell you what, I mean, I'm a Timberwolf, Wolf Creek, and they just took another ATV theft on camera. And it's not about response, it's about, I'm just telling you.
No,
I'm
I'm not counting you.
The burglar you guys had at Crawford, Tom, and Old Dayton, they stole a ton of guns out there.
Where?
At Crawford and Old Dayton. So,
When?
it was within the last week.
But yeah, I don't think they put everything in that book.
Yeah, I'm just telling you.
Well, that's at my mom's corner. I've not heard nothing about that.
Yeah, I'm just telling you.
No, I don't doubt you, but who's handling it?
is that red
Sure.
button?
Yeah, I
Red
can't
light
just
off,
call.
you push that red
But
button.
the bottom line is,